Paul Joe, you're welcome indeed to another edition of the programme. This week we're coming to you from the Social Services Centre in Castlebar for the official opening of their new extension and facilities.
It's a wonderful day. Finally, we're opening our new extension to our premises, which was a vision of PJ and Ali, who passed away 2 years ago. I'm sure you'll be very proud of the work we've completed. The building here was donated to us by the Sisters of Mercy, and it was an old building. I mean, you've been around, so we've added in a lift element to the premises, which gives us access to the upper floors, and a new day centre for the elderly, and offices, obviously. So it's wonderful. I'm delighted it's here. I mean, we went through a lot during COVID with the building works and stops and starts, but it's great that it's finally here. So the official opening is today. Kevin Kelly, the new CEO of Mayo County Council, is joining us today to officially open it, along with other dignitaries. So we're delighted to have them here to actually look at the premises. You know, a lot of people wouldn't have seen it due to COVID. So we're welcoming everybody here today, and we're looking forward to it.
Now, you've been manager here at the social service for a number of years now.
That's right, yeah. How many years? 12 or 13 years now. I came for a few days and ended up staying. We have a staff of about 13 people here through the CSP Public Community Services Programme, RSS support and THUS participants and volunteers. I mean, without the volunteers, we just couldn't run the service. We have a base of about 60 volunteers. They come in to deliver the Meals on Wheels every single day. We run a 7-day service, 365 days of the year. The majority of our volunteers have been with us for years, and they're just so wonderful. I can't thank them enough. We also have a telephone befriending service, which we piloted in 2008, and it was so successful that Alone rolled it out and replicated it across the country. So it's an non-invasive call to a person in their homes, especially when they're coming out of hospital and discharged, that we can tap into them. If there's any issues, then we can follow on with their GP or their family members just to give them a check-in service. So we have a pool of volunteers that call them every morning of the week. So that's an invaluable service, especially during COVID as well. It was just wonderful.
And who are you catering for?
The elderly predominantly, but you know, there's no barrier to receiving our services. You know, you just have to have a need. I mean, a lot of people, it's loneliness, it's alleviating loneliness really, and allowing people to remain in their own homes for as long as possible, because that's all everyone wants to be, is in their own home.
And some of the other services you provide here, I know as a daycare centre, people can come in.
Yes, we have a bus service. We have our own minibus, and we got it through the Pobble dormant accounts. We got it a few years ago. So we collect people in their homes, bring them to Castlebar. We have our day services here, so they come in, they have their lunch, and in the afternoon then we have activities for them. So during the summer months we take day trips, and in the winter periods then we have arts and crafts, music, holistic mindfulness, you know, whatever they want. You know, it's just really about catering for them to enable them to do what they want to do.
There's been major developments since you took up the post here as manager. What's been the most significant change for you?
I suppose the demand for the services. I mean, I never realised there was so many people in need. I mean, people coming home out of hospital, or even the elderly now, you know, they really don't know where to go to. I mean, you come out of a place and you're very, very institutionalised once you've been in hospital for a while. And it's just really, I suppose the elderly are very undemanding. I'm always saying it. I mean, I dread to think what it's going to be like when it comes to my age group, but they really, really are so grateful for everything that you do for them. And it's just, you know, the services that are available, they don't know that they're around. So I suppose the pendant alarm that we do is a vital thing for people when they're on their own. It's a medical alert service that they can press and have contact immediately if they're in trouble. And we also piloted message in a bottle last year. It's a small wee bottle that's put into your fridge, and there's 3 green stickers in it. So there's a sticker put on your front door, your back door and your fridge. And in that bottle, it's in your fridge, is all your next of kin, your medicine, where it's kept. So in the event that the paramedics arrived, they automatically go to the fridge when they see the stickers. And it's such a vital service because they're not administering drugs to you then that you could be allergic to. And it's a very simple one. You know, if you have a dog, you know, you're taking you out of a farmhouse and that you know somebody's going to be looking after them. So there's lots of different services that are so simple, but they're so effective for older people.
Deirdre, do you feel you have enough staff to cater for all these services?
Well, as I said, we get our staff, I mean, we are a voluntary organisation, so we have very minimal funds. So we're lucky that we got a community services programme. They give us a certain amount of money towards staffing, and the rest we have to top up ourselves. The Rural Social Scheme and the TUS are invaluable to us because without them we couldn't run the service. We have a staff of about 13. The volunteers really take up an awful lot of the slack that the staff that we don't have the staff for. And I mean, the volunteers are amazing. I mean, they work in the kitchen, they deliver the meals, they do the telephone befriending service for us, and they get a lot back, and they're saying, they get so much more out of it too. But regarding staffing, it's always a problem for a voluntary organisation. I'm not going to say it's not. Every Meals on Wheels organisation will say the same thing.
Finally, what about future plans now for the social services here?
Yeah, well, look, we're so happy to have the new day centre open because it's airy, it's fresh, it's just so inviting compared to what we had before. And, we'll be able to cater for a lot more. We'll be able to do tea dances, just different activities that we didn't have the capacity to do before. And we would welcome anybody to come and give us a shout and in any way we can help them.
Bless the building. Thanks very much.
Noreen, you've had a long association with the social services.
Yes, I have. The social services started first it was the Senior Citizens Club then. It started up in the Boxing Club. And at that time we just had evening meetings, parties for older people. And at that time there wasn't any televisions or any people hadn't any electricity. Well, they had electricity, but they hadn't televisions or anything at home. So it was a real nice time for them to come out in the evening. We had quite a few elderly. We had people who did their own entertainment. We had fellows who sang lovely songs and who would recite about 30 verses of a recitation. And we had people who used to come in to play music, and we would have a lovely party, night tea. And they were delighted to meet because that was the first time that came. Now, Peggy Donegan and Bridie Harlan started it up there, and John Hamrock, I think, maybe, and Larry McHale. So then we were there quite happy in our own way until the Sisters of Mercy gave this place over in 1972 to the social services. And because it was better for us to be here because we were under their umbrella. So we came down here in 1982 and we had to get, at that time people came in during the day. And so the meals began very small at the beginning, but then they increased and people got to know and people came in. And gradually increased over the years. And so today is a very good day that with the new place open and there's a lot more people can come in and be entertained.
Yeah. It's looking at it today, the official opening, I must give you great pride.
It really is one of the best days of my life because we fought long and hard to have this here. And it's great that it's open. Yeah. I'm just sorry some of the people that were instrumental in starting the whole thing are helping with it, are doing a lot. PJ and Ellie and Joe Hamrock and quite a number of people. I shouldn't be mentioning names, but they're the recent people who are here and who always wanted to improve the place and make it very acceptable for all people. And we were always looking for a lift because a lot of people couldn't go upstairs or anything. And in order to get a lift, we had to do a bit of building. So we had a few ups and downs, but eventually it's here today and we're delighted.
Well, listen, continued success anyway, Nora. It's a great story and done tremendous work here over the years, and long may it continue.
Oh, long may it continue. It's great. This is a great day anyway, and thank God. And we do remember the people who have departed because we have a lot of people who used to come in during the day are gone, and also some of our committee and volunteers, over the years, a lot of people have passed through here and all done their bit. So we have to remember them today as well.
I'm Anne Burke. I live out in Ballyheen, but I come in here every Thursday to avail of the services, and I also avail of Meals on Wheels each day. And on Thursday it's very delightful coming here. We really look forward to it. But we're collected at home by the bus, and we collect about 10 others, and it takes about an hour and a half to get here. So we're here about 10:30. We have a lovely cup of tea around there and a talk, and we're delighted to meet each other. Now, we're all elderly, so we haven't seen anybody in the COVID like all week. Wouldn't have talked to anybody, you know. You wouldn't have met anybody like yourself. And we have a lovely talk. And then if we want to go shopping, and if you're able to go shopping, well, there's a bit of help if you want to go downtown to get your things. And we'll be back up at 12 o'clock for our dinner. And we have dinner together in the dining room, and that's most enjoyable because we have people waiting on us and people talking and getting a beautiful meal and enjoying every bit of it. And we have soup and a meal and a sweet. And it's lovely, lovely time now there. And then after dinner, volunteers come in and we would gather here and we would have either music. We cannot have dancing now, but we have music and bingo and a talk maybe from somebody. And Nolene Cashin comes in and she's doing a programme with us at the moment, which is very, very suitable for us. And we talk to each other and we're ready to go again about 3:30 or 4, and we arrive home about 5, flattened after the day. Yeah.
I suppose, Henry, just to give you my background, I was a manager of health services and I was in charge of supporting voluntary organisations. And I used to be responsible for giving grants to voluntary organisations. And I laid a huge emphasis on voluntary organisations working in the community, like Castlebar Social Services, which has a huge number of volunteers. So, in one respect, it was huge value for money. But I saw the impact it had on the community and on the people in the community, especially very vulnerable people. And I said, as soon as I finish my substantive job, I'm going to get involved myself. I'll put my money where my mouth is and actually start doing something myself. So that's my background.
Now, you've got involved in the Meals on Wheels aspect of the social services.
Yes, absolutely, a Meals on Wheels. And the Meals on Wheels is an outreach service from Castlebar Social Services. And it serves both urban and rural people, so it spreads all over the place. And actually there are meals delivered from Castlebar Social Services for up to 20 miles from Castlebar. So it's a significant impact on a huge area. I suppose when you think about the Meals on Wheels services and what it has to offer, what impact has it on the community, I suppose the first thing is the nutritional value to the people that receive it. I mean, that's significant. But I suppose more importantly, it's designed to deal with people who might live alone, who mightn't have access to transport, and who might be suffering from some illness or other. This service consistently gets into their homes, goes to their homes and delivers meals, and is a contact on a daily basis. The service like this to people in the community means that people can be maintained in the community and they don't need to look for hospital or other support services. So it's hugely beneficial. But just to be very clear, the most important thing is that it contributes significantly to the quality of life of those individuals. And they have a better time and people love to stay at home. This enables them to stay at home.
And then some come in here, in fact the kitchen's just right beside us, but in here for day people that like to come in and avail of a lunch here as well.
Yeah, you were in the day room a few moments ago and people have the option of coming into this centre. They can spend hours in the day room chatting, other activities that they have, but they can come in here and have their meal. As you said, the kitchen is just behind us here and you can just see this little hatch there, but they can come in here and have their meal here, or it can be delivered to them. But I suppose just to give you some concept, Henry, of the extent of the service, there are about in excess of 120 meals a day produced and delivered from here. So you're looking at almost 1,000 a week, and you're looking at almost 50,000 per annum. So that's a huge service to deliver. And I am one of a number of the volunteers involved with the Meals on Wheels, but the service, all of the services here have up to 60 volunteers working. So, it's a huge input from the community, But as you always say about voluntary services, the impact for the individual is significant as well.
Kevin, you recently took up the role as CEO of Mayo County Council. How are you settling into the job?
Yeah, I took up the position in May of this year, and I hope I'm settled in okay. I might leave it to others to make that judgment, but it's been great. I knew Mayo, I suppose, before I came here. Have visited the county many times, and obviously from a neighbouring county. So I was delighted to take up the position, and I've been hugely impressed by what I've seen, both within Mayo County Council and across the county. During the summer I got to go out and visit a few places and meet a few communities and so forth, and hugely impressed by the community spirit, by the work that has been done in Mayo over a number of years, and I suppose by the staff within Mayo County Council, what they want to do, the ambition that they have displayed, and look, it's been a great experience so far.
You're here today, you're standing in for the Minister to officially open the extension here to the Social Services Centre here in Castlebar. Are you impressed with the facilities you've seen here? I know you took a tour of the whole premises.
Absolutely. It was my first time in the building now, and I suppose, first of all, it's a fantastic facility, and the addition to it is going to make a great improvement to the service offering here. But I think more importantly, it's about the services that are actually delivered by the Social Services Centre and their impact on the community here in Castlebar, and indeed in the environs of Castlebar. And I think it's hugely important, especially coming off the last 2 years with COVID, and I suppose people felt vulnerable, people felt alone and so forth. So the tremendous work that's done here on a voluntary basis is absolutely tremendous. And I think it's very vital for people to have that connection, to have rooms like this where people can come and engage and socialise and so forth. And I suppose services like Meals on Wheels, where people who might feel alone, might feel a little bit neglected, have that daily interaction and support, and know that there's somebody here in the Castlebar community thinking about them.
Of course, a lot of the statutory bodies in County Mayo are very much involved in the whole development of the social services here, the centre, and particularly for the extension of the building and that.
Well, yes, obviously the leader group, the subcommittee of Mayo County Council, which is the local community development committee, does what's called the social inclusion and community activation programme. So there are many different strands, and look, we all know there's never enough money. There's further work to be done here on the building in order to bring it all right up to the standard that people would expect. And then there's the, I suppose, ongoing cost of the delivery of services and the strain that poses on an organisation like the social services here. But look, I think what can be seen from the board and the staff here and the volunteers is what can be done. Even when resources are limited and the actions can't be exactly what's desired, great things can still be achieved. And I think it's bit by bit, building on the work that has been done here over many years. And I suppose as long as we have that voluntary effort underway, we'll still make progress.
Pat, we're here in the newly developed courtyard of the Social Services Centre here in Castlebar.
So that's so true. Actually, it's turned out much better than we had planned. Originally, where this new building is, it was an old garden, and it is very wet and damp because apparently the Castlebar River originally came up and skirted by this building. So that was filled in, but the consequences of that was that it was very rough and left. So when we started building, this idea of the courtyard only came much later down, but it turned out to be a great addition, and it looks great, and I'm sure it'll be great for the people, because come the summertime, if you're sitting in there, which we hope people will be, it'll be great for them that they can come out and enjoy it. Yeah.
Now, you're chairman of the board of the social services here, so what's your main role, Pat?
Well, it's to coordinate all the activities. I mean, Deirdre looks after the day-to-day stuff and does a damn good job on it. So our role is the I suppose you could call it the bigger picture, to make sure that it continues the way it is, and we look at the finances every now and again. We look at what's happening and we try and plan for the future and where it might go.
And I
That's
suppose with all the services you provide, it's always possibly a financial headache for an organisation like you.
Of course it is, of course it is. But generally speaking, people are very good. It's amazing how decent people are. Over the years, it amazed me when I came into this part of it to discover all the contributions that, particularly now from now to Christmas, you could expect thousands rather than hundreds, literally. And that keeps us going. Then the other thing is we're principally funded by the Health Board, who give us a substantial grant every year towards what we do. And we get a much smaller grant in from the County Council. And the rest is again, borrowing and stealing where we can get it.
And is there huge demands on the services you're providing, Pat?
Well, thanks be to God, there is really. There's an awful lot of people out there and they're looking for help in one way or another, you know. And we are supplying all the meals that we do. There would be approximately 100 meals, thereabouts, goes out 7 days a week. And there's a lot of people, if they're living at home, it keeps them at home. By virtue of getting a good meal, they can continue to live at home, other than going off maybe into a home or things like that. We always feel that's why the Health Board are anxious enough to help us, because they know damn well a lot of it would fall back on them if we weren't here to provide the service that we do. And then there's a lot of the befriending thing. It's a great thing because a lot of people are very lonesome at home, or they may need to get a doctor or something like that and they're going around about it. So they'll get a phone call, and if they need a doctor or a nurse or things like that, they get encouragement and we contact the doctor, as the case may be, or the hospital, whatever is needed, you know, or the social worker. So that's a big part of the work. Then, you probably know the other bits and pieces that we're involved in, like the pendant alarms and message in a bottle and those kind of things. We're involved in a lot of stuff.
And I know you wanted to pay tribute to the volunteers that help you man the service here.
Indeed, that is quite right. Because 90% of the deliveries are done by volunteers. Now, we have a van on the road, but that's for the outlying areas, you know. But as regards around the town, where the majority of our, we'll call them clients for the time being, but the majority of those people are, it's delivered day after day, 7 days a week by volunteers. And they're absolutely great. Christmas time, any time of the year, they come and they do it. And it's a commitment, and they're prepared to make it, and it's great. And, it's great that we have so many that are prepared to do it. And the same with the befriending. There's 6 or 8, they're mostly retired nurses as it happens, and they come in here every week, or for the last while they're doing it from home, and they ring these people. It's great. I'm very impressed.
Delighted with the official opening today.
I think it was a success. A lot of people turned up. We were a bit disappointed the way it turned out that the minister couldn't come, but then that wasn't her fault, it was COVID. And we were big time have to appreciate that Kevin Kelly, at such short notice, was prepared to come and do it for us, because otherwise it was going to be maybe myself, and I'm not so sure that would have been too impressive. So it worked out all right, and I think people were happy, and I'm delighted with them. And delighted that you were able to come yourselves and keep a record of it for posterity.